I can tell you really how I started and how the training has evolved, and I think it's the same for a lot of members depending on how deep you want to go into the organization. Initially, as I was first a member of BNI, I went through the Member Success Program before it was the Member Success Program. It was a new member orientation at the time. And it gives the member the core competencies of a BNI member. It teaches you and trains you how to deliver a sales manager minute, how to do your 10-minute, talks about referrals and one-to-ones and all the core competencies of a member, and that's really where everyone starts. Whether you're an executive director or a national director, we all start with the basics. Moving on from there, you become a leader in a BNI chapter, and you go through leadership training and you learn more about the managing a referral group and how to best utilize that time so that you get your best results. So you go through leadership training, and coming up from leadership training, then some regions have the opportunity to become an ambassador, where you'll go through an ambassador's training and have sort of 4 hours, and in ambassador's training is a prelude to director's training. And then as I wanted to be a member of 2 different chapters in my business and realized very quickly after talking to the director that that wasn't an option, he offered me the opportunity to become an ambassador. So I went through the ambassador's training and enjoyed that so much that I had the opportunity to go through director's training. Now, director's training, as it stands today, is a little bit different from when I started. And when I started in BNI, director's training was 2 days long, and it wasn't the full 3 days that we have now. Now our directors, to become a director with BNI, you go through 24 hours of director's training, 3 8-hour days. If you get the opportunity to come here to the States to go through director's training, you have Dr. Meisner, who comes and talks about the traditions of the organization. He also comes in and he talks about the hidden elements of a BNI meeting. And so that's really something that's very special. And even if you don't come here to the States to get that training, he's now put those presentations on video. And you can go to BNI.com as a director, and you can download those videos and watch them as often as you'd like. And really, the amount of education and training that's offered to somebody involved in this organization, whether you're involved as just a member, which I hate to say just a member, but if you're involved at that level or all the way up to an executive director level, you go through quite a bit to really gather this and understand what it's all about. And even after training, it takes about a year, in my opinion, of direct contact with the chapters, of experience, of working with leadership teams to really start to fully understand the ins and outs of it. Well, it's a great question. One of the things that the national trainers from all the countries are doing is that we get together every January here in California. And when we get together, we go through the director's training manual page by page. And what we want to do is we want to put together one manual that speaks to everybody in the world. Now, that's quite a challenge, just not the language barrier included there. It's quite a challenge to come up with something that's going to translate through all cultures, but really and truly referrals do translate through all cultures, and the proof is in the fact that we have the number of chapters we have in I think 44 different countries right now, the latest one being Vietnam, which really surprised me when I heard that we had chapters of BNI in Vietnam. It kind of took you back, just based on our history with them. So the training, as we start to go forward, we'll continue to try and improve it to make sure that we're educating adults appropriately for adults. You know, you educate children and adults differently, and we try and keep it fun and exciting and interesting over 3 days, and not just sit and lecture you for 3 days as you're falling asleep in the back of the room. That's a great question. I know that we have, you'll be able to go in and do refreshers. As like I said, Dr. Meisner's starting to put his presentations up online in a video form. And so you'll have those opportunities to go through that. But my personal opinion is that nothing is going to be able to replace those 3 days in that room with national trainers, with folks going through the material, and your opportunity to ask questions and get clarification on systems. There are two sides of the house in BNI. And as a business owner, as an executive director, one side is the sales side, the other side is the customer service. There are some people that can do both, but not a whole lot of folks can do both. You're either really good at starting chapters, or you're really good at managing them and maintaining them and helping them flourish and thrive through customer service. And so really, in parts of the training, we want to really focus in on those different aspects to make sure that whether you're managing an existing chapter or opening new chapters, you get a good education and a full understanding of that aspect of this organization. So that's one of the directions that I believe that we're going to start to take. I know that one of our national trainers is also putting videos up online and education pieces for their members to go through and to look at. And I think it's great. If we can make it easy for our members to participate, if we can make it easier to get our members that education, I'm all for it. I'm not, I don't think we have to force you to come to a meeting if you're a professional and you can sit there and you can watch the video and take a quick test to see whether or not you've retained that information. If you've really learned it, I think that would be a neat thing to have. Many of us have created our own presentations based around the core competencies of a BNI member. The advanced member success programs that I would offer in my region would be Sales Manager Minutes, where we do 90 minutes and talk about nothing more than your 60-second presentation or your Sales Manager Minute, if you will. Another advanced topic is the 10-minute presentation. I'd spend 90 minutes teaching and training members how to effectively use that. And it's not just a director standing in front of the room lecturing to the group, but it is part that, but it's also part group participation. Hey, let me tell you what I did and how this worked in my group as it relates to my 10-minute. And that kind of exchange between members being facilitated by a director, in my opinion, is value added for our members. They come and they seek this out. They want to be involved in it. They want to be educated and understand how this works, because the bottom line is that they want to get results in their chapter. And if they fully understand how to do a good 10-minute and be effective, instead of teaching and training me how to do your job, educate me on how to refer you business. If they get that in this advanced training, we would want to give that in basic as well, but we reinforce it in the advanced training. The one-to-ones, I'd spend 90 minutes teaching and training members how to conduct a proper one-to-one. You know, it's kind of funny, it came to light to me. Years ago, I had a member that came to me and said, Tim, I'm not getting the referrals you told me I could get. I'm doing all the right things. You told me to be prepared and specific in my Sales Manager Minute. Well, I'm doing it. You've asked me to be prepared and specific in my 10-minute and not teach and train on my business, but teach and train how to refer me business. I've done it. The one-to-ones I've done. I'm referring business out. Tim, I'm not getting business back. I said, okay, well, let me ask you, what do you do in your one-to-one meetings with people? And she literally said to me, well, we chit-chat. Chit-chat, what does that mean? What do you mean you chit-chat? Well, we talk about the kids, we talk about the weather, we talk about the ball game. They talk about anything but business. And look, for your first one-to-one that you conduct with somebody, you want to chit-chat. I want to get to know you a little bit better and about your kids and about your family and where you come from and all that good stuff. Beyond that, we need to start strategically marketing each other's businesses and start referring each other business. So you go into that kind of detail, or you have the opportunity to go into that kind of detail in these advanced member success programs. Leads are not referrals, and referrals are not leads is another 90-minute presentation that I would go through with our members to teach and train them how to appropriately refer business to each other. A lot of folks believe as they come into this organization that passing a name and a phone number and a go-get-'em tiger is a referral, and it's just simply not the case. So we spend a lot of time, and those, again, are the core competencies of a BNI member, the things that members need to do in order to have some results and have some success in this organization. The first thing I want to do is I want to let you know that as a professional, I always want to sharpen my tools. I always want to learn more about how I can be better at what I do, and not just as a professional, but in life. We always strive to be better people, and I find that a lot in BNI, with that giver's gain mentality that folks come into this organization with. They want to sharpen their tools and sharpen their saw, so to speak, and become better at it. One of the things that I like, or the analogy that I like to use is our good friend and top golfer in the world, Mr. Tiger Woods. Now, not this year, he's not the top golfer in the world, but he has been for many, many years and top at his craft. And guess what? He has a coach, and he takes lessons, and he practices and practices and practices, and that's how he becomes number one. And guess what? When Tiger is going through all his personal issues and all the things that he's had, guess what he's not doing? He's not practicing, he's not working with his coach, he's not taking lessons, he's not doing anything, and it shows in his game. We always have to strive to be better. We always want to go and seek out, and not just within BNI, but outside of BNI. Go out there and get those business books and learn how you can be a better business professional, and the results will show on your bottom line. You know, it's funny. This is when we first started reporting, thank you for closed business here in the States, the members automatically were drawn to reporting their gross sales numbers. If you sold a $1 million house, you wanted to report a $1 million sale that happened. And that's just not a fair number in my estimate. It's just not. What I want you to report is what's important to you, the member. And that all depends on you, the member. If you're a commission sales rep, if you work for somebody or you get commissions, what's important to you is not what the company makes. What's important to you is the dollars that are going into your pocket. And we need to track those dollars that are coming from your BNI chapter to make sure that this is a good use of your time. If you're not tracking your results, if you're not keeping the score, you don't know the score. So we got to make sure that we're tracking our results. But I want you to report what's important to you. That's in-pocket money. If you're a professional, a dentist, a chiropractor, an accountant, a professional, you're going to count gross sales dollars that are coming into your business. You have a budget, you have goals set, you have all of these things in place, and you know that there's a number that you need to hit to keep your doors open, and then there's another number that you want to hit to make some money. And so what's important to you is the professional, the business owner, are those dollars that come into the company gross sales. So those are the two sides that I kind of look at, whether you're the business owner or a commission sales rep. What's really important to you? And that's what you should be reporting to the chapter. I had a chapter earlier this year had reported within a 6-month period $2 million in thank you for closed business. And after doing some investigation and some digging, I'm not sure that was a real number. I think that might have been, hey, I sold $1 million house, and they had turned that in. And it's not fair to your visitors and the people that were reporting that we closed this amount of money to, because it's just not a real number. And it all starts with the member inviting the visitor and the process that they go through to invite a visitor. A lot of our members have a misconception that I'm not going to invite you to our chapter meeting because you're so busy and so successful that you don't need this. When in all actuality, I need to give you that opportunity to make that decision. I shouldn't make that in my mind on your behalf. because I don't really know your situation. I don't really know if you need more business or don't. So don't pre-qualify your visitors before you invite them to the chapter meeting. You never know what that person may have just lost their largest client, and they may need to grow the business. I always talk about the how to invite. Providing them with an opportunity, gauging some interest through what's in it for me, and asking the question, how do you get your business now? Are referrals something that you're interested in? Do you like referrals for your business? If the answers to those questions are yes, then I invite and I say, well, I have a group of professionals that I meet with on a regular basis, and we're looking for someone in your profession to refer our clients to. Would you like to meet with us on Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m. or 7 a.m., whenever it is that we meet? And I'm going to get one or two answers. Yeah, absolutely, I'm interested in meeting with you guys, and then I confirm it, the location, and put it down in my book to call them the day before to reconfirm. If it's a no, then I say, well, if you're not interested, and I get that, I understand that you're not interested, is there someone that you know in your profession that is? Because we do. We've got referrals for someone in your profession, and we'd like to refer our clients to them. That generally gets them to show up at your chapter meeting after you make that statement. That's only the first part, though. Now you've invited them, you've got them committed. You need to make that phone call and make sure that they are going to attend your chapter meeting. That phone call increases your percentage of them actually showing up to the meeting pretty dramatically. Not making that phone call, you're hit and miss. Because they're going to think in their minds, well, there's a large group of professionals there. I'm not going to be missed, so I'm just not going to go. But if you pick up the phone the day before and can reconfirm that, they'll say, hey, they're expecting me to show up. I need to be there. When your visitors arrive to your chapter meeting, the experience that you create in and around that chapter meeting makes all the difference between that person submitting an application to be considered for membership or them turning right out the door and walking away and never coming back again. And it starts with your visitor host being 15 minutes early to your chapter meetings so that they're set up, ready, and prepared to accept visitors and make them feel comfortable and welcome. In my estimation, your visitors make up their mind within the first 10 minutes of arrival as to whether or not this is a good fit for them and whether or not they want to be a part of this. We haven't even started the business portion of the meeting yet. We're still in open networking, and they're thinking to themselves either, yeah, this is going to work, or no, it's not. And that all greatly depends on how comfortable your visitor hosts and your members have made that individual feel upon their arrival. They come in, we make sure the visitor host does their job, and we take them around and we want to introduce that visitor to other members of the chapter. And then the thing that I never do with visitors is try and twist their arm, so to speak, to join the chapter. You'll never catch me saying the word join. I don't want you to join. I want you to submit an application so you can be considered for membership. And I want you to do that based on your desire to be here, not based on the fact that I'm dangling a referral in front of you and saying, hey, you know what, I have a referral for you, but I'm not going to give it to you until you submit the or until you join, is what a lot of folks will say. That's just not a way to grow a chapter or to get members, because if they join the chapter for the wrong reasons, and you've sold them on joining the chapter for the wrong reasons, now you've got to sell them on participating. You've got to sell them on coming to the meetings on time and being there each week and doing the sales manager minutes and doing the one-to-ones and coming to the trainings and all of that stuff. And you know what? There are a lot of people out there that want to do this. And so we want to focus on those folks. B&I is not for everybody. A good question. As we receive an application to be considered for membership, it goes to the membership committee. Our membership committees are instructed to interview that individual and to sit down and go over the questions that are answered on the application. Make sure we get good clarification, good answers. We can also set expectations at that interview. We can let them know about the attendance policy. We can let them know about the substitution policy if they're not already aware, and make sure that they're willing to adhere to those policies before we approve that membership. So we can set that expectation before they are ever approved in the chapter. Consequently, we get a better member on the back end. definitely want to check those references on the back of the application, but we also want to make sure that they're the right references, that we're not checking with your vendors. I know your vendors like you, provided you're current with them and you pay your bill on time. Your vendors are going to give you a glowing recommendation because they want you to continue to buy from them. The references I want to check and the references I want to call are the folks that you're doing business with, your 2 last clients or your 2 best clients or whatever. But I want to talk to your clients and I want to ask them questions like if they had the opportunity to refer you business, would they do so? If they had the opportunity to do business with you again, would they do so? I want to ask those questions so that I make sure that we're getting a good quality business professional in our chapter that's not going to drop the ball when we refer our best clients to them. So that's about the membership committee process. They get a week to make that decision, or at least to let that prospective member know the status of their application. Certainly that interview needs to take place pretty quickly, and it's a big job for a membership committee and a vice president to handle, along with their own daily duties in their quote-unquote real job, so to speak. So there's a lot that goes behind approving a member, and if you go through that, and not just the mirror test, where if they can fog a mirror, they're in your chapter. But if you go through that process of checking the references and interviewing the member, the chances of you getting a stinker in the chapter are dramatically decreased. It's a good question. And I've heard that. I haven't heard that lately. I used to hear that a lot. I've got a job, B&I takes so much of my time. One of the things we started talking with people about is we started to ask them, well, this is how you've chosen to market your business, is it not? Are you doing anything else to market your business? What are the results that you're getting on the back end of all this time you're spending? And that's truly what we need to look at, are the results. Are they tracking the referrals that they're getting, and are they following it pretty closely? When you start to look at those results and you look at the fact that B&I represented 50, 60, 75, in some cases 100% of your new business last year, I'd say most folks would want to spend a lot of time developing relationships in B&I. Another thing that we talk about with folks as it relates to B&I takes too much time. Don't look at B&I as something that's separate from your business. Don't look at B&I as this is something that I have to go do. B&I is something that you're doing in conjunction with your business every day. It's a part of your daily activity or your daily routine. Now, you don't go to a meeting every day. You go to a meeting once a week. But every day there's something that's going to be related to your business that's also related to B&I, whether it's a phone call to another member to schedule a one-to-one, just to touch base. That's relationship building. Those folks get to know, like, and trust you better. They refer you more business. B&I on the front end initially may take you a lot of time. It may take you hours and hours every week to establish relationships and to do the one-to-ones and to prepare for the chapter meeting. But as time progresses and you get good at this and you've practiced it over and over again, the time that you spend becomes less and less. Now you're maintaining relationships as opposed to building relationships. And that takes a lot less time, and you can get some much better results when you get there. But you got to get there. Like I mentioned in my earlier, Tiger Woods didn't start off hitting a golf ball straight 325, 330 yards consistently every time. He still doesn't do it consistently every time. He had to start somewhere, and we all start at the same place. So it does take a little bit of time, but look at it as something that you're doing in conjunction with, not in addition to your business. This is something that's going to take time, but the results, like I said earlier on the back end, can be very dramatic in increasing your business. Now, look, I've had a director in the past that when she was starting new groups and she's kicking off new chapters, as the new chapter was coming up to their kickoff, she would offer the opportunity for all of the members at the kickoff to set up a table as a trade show for their business at the kickoff. So now you got 100, 120 visitors in the room that are walking around the room from table to table looking at the members' businesses. And that's the first 15, 20 minutes. In a kickoff, you may do a little more open networking than the first 15 minutes. And so they had a really great opportunity to showcase not only their group, but their businesses as well at their visitors' day or their kickoff for their group. But I'd certainly like to see more information about that. What I would say is when you come into this organization and you start to come through the education and the trainings that we provide, come through it with an open mind. Come through with the attitude that I'm going to go and get as much out of this as I possibly can, bring it back to my business and implement things where appropriate so I can grow my business by referral. A lot of us take the attitude when we come into the organization, oh, I've got to go do this, I've got to go do that. And, really, this is an opportunity for you to go and educate yourself. Now, I've been a director with this organization for the past 10 years. I've trained the Member Success Program basic training countless times. I couldn't even tell you how many times I've gone through that. And if I were to go and to sit in on someone else, another director training the MSP basic training, do you know I'd pick something up? I'd absolutely learn something new that I had not heard before, even though I've trained this material. So I encourage our members, please get out there. Go to that Member Success Program, either the basic or the advanced trainings. Get to that basic once a year. When you renew your dues, go back through the basic Member Success Program training. I guarantee you'll pick something up that you didn't get the first time.